25 years ago, a group of guys literally redefined comedy by shooting themselves with paintballs and launching porta potties into the sky. But now, well, they're in their 50s, and time is the one prank they just can't outrun. In the 2026 release of Jackass Best and Last, the stunts are still absolutely wild, but critics are universally calling it poignant? I know, no way, right? Before you click away, don't worry. This isn't just some piece of AI slop. This is a meticulously researched, highly informative, educational, and honestly, super entertaining explainer on the most unexpected emotional goodbye in cinema history. Do me a quick favor, smash that like button, and let's dive right into why the final Jackass will actually make you shed a tear.
Okay, let's dive into this wild contrast here. For over 2 decades, the whole Jackass franchise was built on, genital trauma, porta-potty explosions, and just pure, unadulterated chaos. Yet theater audiences and these hard-nosed movie reviewers are suddenly walking out of this 2026 release misty-eyed. So what changed? How on earth did a crew famous for drinking sweat and wrestling angry bulls pivot into delivering a massive emotional gut punch?
Well, it's actually fascinating. Top critics are recognizing that beneath all the gross-out gags, this final film actually serves as a deeply heartfelt documentary about brotherhood. Variety hit the nail on the head, noting that what binds and lifts all this foolery is the palpable love they have for what they do and the other people doing it. You leave believing they'll actually miss all this, and honestly, that's enough to make us miss it too. It's not just pranks anymore, guys. It's a real celebration of their enduring bond.
Moving right along to Chapter 1, the final Jackass Hurrah. So this new film functions as part clip show and part brand new stunt fest, and it brilliantly illustrates a massive shift in their approach. Think back to the early 2000s. We're talking reckless, near-fatal danger, getting shot out of cannons, playing with live crocodiles, the whole shebang. But jumping to 2026, there's this huge pivot toward the nostalgic, humiliation-based comedy of middle age. It's way less about cheating death and a lot more about just surviving a really, really embarrassing situation while your best friends point and laugh at you.
When you trace this journey, from those gritty 1998 MTV pilot days through that massive 3D era in 2010, their big comeback with Jackass Forever in 2022, all the way to this ultimate 2026 release, we're looking at a quarter-century of escalating cinematic daredevilry. And honestly, just watching them physically age across this time frame is exactly what makes this final entry feel so surprisingly heavy.
But hey, don't get it twisted. The new film isn't just some boring retrospective. It brings some incredibly fresh, brand new lunacy to the table. We're talking about Steve-O enduring a genuinely painful prostate exam from a robot named Larry who's armed with chunky peanut butter. Yeah, you heard that right. We've got a naked twister game planned right after chugging heavy colonoscopy laxatives and an escape room from hell. They might be older, but they definitely haven't lost that entirely unique sense of boundary-pushing comedy.
The film also digs deep, really deep, into the vault. It resurrects these legendary, never-before-seen clips that MTV deemed way too edgy to ever air back in the day. We finally get to see the crystal-clear, original 1998 clip of Johnny Knoxville shooting himself in the chest wearing a Kevlar vest, literally the stunt that started it all. Plus, there's that legendary, almost mythical 2001 prank where they staged a fake abduction of Brad Pitt right off a street in Los Angeles.
So you might be wondering why rely so heavily on old footage for this movie. Well, the answer is pretty simple. Because bodies break. Actually, real quick, drop a comment down below with your absolute favorite classic Jackass stunt of all time. Got it? Okay, now imagine trying to do that exact stunt in your 50s. Let's look at exactly why these guys finally had to pump the brakes.
And that brings us perfectly into Chapter 2, Middle-Aged Mortality.
The absolute crucial point here is the number 54. Johnny Knoxville is 54 years old in this film. And as reviewers have so astutely pointed out, concussions just hit entirely differently in your 50s than they do in your 20s. The film shows this stark, crazy contrast, cutting directly from a 26-year-old Knoxville to his 54-year-old silver-haired self staring right into the lens. Time is just the undefeated champion, guys. And we see exactly how this harsh physical reality builds right into the narrative of the film. Following a really severe brain hemorrhage from a bull stunt in Jackass Forever, Knoxville was medically ordered by his doctors to stop doing fatal stunts entirely. The film actually forces the crew to confront their physical limits head-on. You literally see their middle-aged bodies marked by the intense wear and tear of their wild profession, right alongside those fading joke tattoos that probably seemed a whole lot funnier 25 years ago.
But here's the thing, it's not just about the pain and the aging. In fact, the real secret to Jackass, the true reason it has survived and thrived for over 2 decades, isn't the stunts at all. It's the brotherhood. And hey, while we're talking about friendship, go ahead and share this explainer with that one friend you'd totally do an escape room from hell with.
All right, let's dive into our final chapter. Chapter 3, The Catharsis of Brotherhood.
So we really have to ask ourselves, what is it that transforms watching a grown man ingest a colonoscopy super laxative into a genuinely moving cinematic experience? How does a movie absolutely packed with endless genital gags suddenly become this profound reflection on friendship?
Well, this quote from Rolling Stone perfectly captures the ethos of the entire crew. They wrote, "The best way to face our own mortality is not with class and stoicism. It's by laughing at the absurdity of existence while surrounded by the people you love." And wow, isn't that the truth? They are facing the terrifying breakdown of their own bodies with this relentless, joyful absurdity, and they're doing it right alongside their absolute best friends.
You see this beautiful, kind of crazy contrast throughout the film itself. The super crude, scatological humor and the extreme bodily trauma are just constantly counterbalanced by this incredibly wholesome camaraderie. Literally every single time someone gets hurt, there's a crew of guys immediately rushing in, cheering on whichever unlucky member is currently being brutalized, and wrapping a supportive arm around them while just dying of laughter.
And importantly, the film takes real time to honor everyone who helped build that legacy. This includes some deeply felt tributes to the late Ryan Dunn, ensuring his memory is celebrated with pure joy, like when they revisit his infamous toy car X-ray stunt. They even include some unseen footage of Bam Margera, cementing the fact that despite all their differences and public struggles, they are and always will be family.
Knoxville and his crew prove that while our bodies inevitably break down, true friendship survives even the absolute most chaotic forms of punishment. They show us that getting older doesn't mean you have to lose your joy, your sense of humor, or your chosen family. So it leaves us with a pretty big question. How will you face your own mortality? Hopefully, laughing right alongside the people you love. If you enjoyed diving into this explainer with me today, please hit that subscribe button so we can keep exploring the fascinating stories that shape our culture together. Catch you in the next one.